Students, now let us discuss about the terrestrial plants in more detail. This is a desert. A desert is a land covered with sand everywhere. It is very hot and less rainfall occurs here.
Due to less rainfall, only a few plants can grow in the desert. Plants like a cactus, an aloe vera, a prickly pear, and a euphorbia grow in the desert.
Plants which grow in the desert are called xerophytic plants. So, a cactus, an aloe vera, a prickly pear, and a euphorbia are xerophytic plants.
All these xerophytic plants are known as xerophytes as well.
This is a cactus. A cactus is a xerophytic plant. Like other plants, the cactus also needs water to live. But there is very little rainfall in the desert, and sometimes there is no rainfall at all. Have you ever wondered how a cactus survives in the desert?
A cactus plant has special body structure that helps it to survive in less water.
Have a look at the cactus. It does not have any leaves.
But it has many thorns instead. These thorns help the cactus plant to save water.
We throw unnecessary water out of our body in the form of sweat and urine. Like us, a plant too throws unnecessary water out of its body.
A plant throws unnecessary water through its leaves.
If a cactus had flat leaves instead of thorns, more water would evaporate out of its body. And due to the loss of water, the cactus plant would die very soon. But the thorns of a cactus plant do not allow the evaporation of water.
So, the thorns help a cactus plant to save water.
The branches of a cactus plant can store more water in them. So, it can use the water when necessary. So, the thorns and the branches of the cactus plant help it to survive in the desert.
Like a cactus, the body structure of the xerophytic plants, like an aloe vera and a euphorbia, also help them survive in the desert.
Now this is a pine tree. A pine tree grows in the hilly region.
A deodar tree, an oak tree, and a sisal tree also grow in the hilly region.
Some plants even grow in the mountain region. Rhododendron is our national flower. We get the rhododendron flower from the rhododendron tree. The rhododendron tree is also found in the mountain region.
A cycas tree and a fir tree are also found in the mountain region.
Students, some plants grow in the water as well. Have a look at this lotus plant. It has grown in the middle of a pond, hasn't it?
The lotus plant grows in water.
Like a lotus plant, the plants like a pistia, a hydrilla, a lemona, and the water lily also grow in the water. Plants like a water hyacinth, a hydrilla, and a vallisneria also grow in the water. Plants that grow in the water are called water plants. So, plants like a lotus, a pistia, a hydrilla, a lemona are water plants.
Plants like a water lily, a water hyacinth, a hydrilla, and a vallisneria are also water plants. Water plants are also known as aquatic plants.
Students, you may have seen a boat floating on the water. Have you? Have a look at this water hyacinth. Like a boat, a water hyacinth too floats on the water.
A pistia also floats on water.
Aquatic plants which float on the water are called floating plants. So, plants like a water hyacinth and a pistia are floating plants. Now, look at this lotus plant. It is not floating like the water hyacinth. The lotus plant is fixed at one place. It remains fixed on the mud at the bottom of the pond.
Like a lotus plant, a water lily plant also does not float. It also remains fixed on the mud at the bottom of the water.
The aquatic plants which remain fixed at one place are called fixed plants.
So, plants like a lotus and a water lily are fixed plants.
Students, you now know that water lily is a fixed plant. Now, have a look at this water lily plant again. Some parts of this plant are inside the water, while some parts are floating on the water. Now, look at this Hydrilla plant. Unlike a water lily, it is completely inside the water. A Hydrilla plant always remains completely under the water.
Like a Hydrilla plant, a vallisneria plant also always remains completely under the water.
The aquatic plants which remain completely under the water are called underwater plants. So, plants like a vallisneria and a hydrilla are underwater plants.
Underwater plants are also known as submerged plants.
Students, you all know that water lily is an aquatic plant. Now, have a look at its leaves. There are small pores on its leaves. There are pores on its branches too.
The pores on the leaves and on the branches of the water lily plant are filled with air.
These air-filled pores are also known as air spaces. Air spaces make the water lily plant light.
Like a water lily, most of the aquatic plants have air spaces. Air spaces make them light.